Thanks for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. You can find us wherever you find podcasts or listen to music. When you have an opportunity, please give us a 5-star review, write a little note, tell us how we're doing. We really appreciate it. It helps us keep this thing going. If you want to reach out to us, you can find us at Facebook at Hidden Tracks. Instagram is at HiddenTracks99, and if you'd like to send in submissions or talk to us or give us any feedback about what we're doing, our email is myhiddentracks99@gmail.com. Thank you so much again for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the show.
She said that she could hear me from the bedroom, yelling at the neighbors across the lawn. They said that I should go to bed or drink some water so I don't make a fool of myself. So I began to redirect that rage. She is pulling me back inside, and we start talking the way we talk when we don't want to fight. I started peeking on the couch when the moment hit me. She buried her head into her hands. I thought of all the time we spent together, and if it was worth it in the end. My life is an ocean of mistakes that can no longer be ignored. Shove my head below the surface till I am not breathing anymore. She's upset, I guess. She goes down the hall, close my eyes till my head disappeared into the dark. I guess that I deserve what I've got coming to me. Are you only like me? She was in the shower singing. I tried calling Sean up on the phone, but he was busy down in northern Arkansas with some kids out in the woods. And when she returns, I panic. I can't look her in the eyes. I do not trust myself to be alone. Would you stay with me tonight? Your things and left the moment I got dressed. I guess that I deserve what I've got coming to me. Are you only like me? It shouldn't be so hard to tell someone you love them. I was wrong. So I'll be listening to we tennis in the living room through my headphones. I feel safe when I am distant, calmly suspended. You don't have to talk. I can tell by the look in your eyes that it's over. I guess it's just a matter of time until it all falls apart. Oh, I deserve.
What's up, everybody? Another week, another edition of the show. This week, I have Braden from the awesome band St. Judas. This is his little project which is, I wouldn't even want to call it little because there's so much behind it and there's so much intensity within the lyrics and the music, and it's kind of a self-exploration type of music that I love, and it makes me learn a lot about a person. And I'm so happy I was able to find this artist through a split EP. I already had the other band on from the EP, and now I have Braden of St. Judas on, and loving the music. Loved the latest thing that came out, which was the split you did, which was songs about cats and starting over, split with Brown Maple. But from the first thing I listened to, from Sidewalks to Songs for Dorian to Terrible Year, I'm just excited to just fucking get to the bones of it. So after that long-winded welcome to the show, Braden.
Oh, hi. I'm flattered, one, but thank you for having me. I'm always excited to meet and talk. So, thank you for wanting to have me on. I appreciate it.
Well, it's hard to not want to talk to somebody when I hear something that I can connect with. The exploration of the show and finding bands and artists alike that just have a great sensibility and know what they're doing when they're creating it. There's not,
Mm-hmm.
I always, have this term that I tell people. There's simplicity to the complexity of what they're creating, and but it pulls you in and it makes you want to learn more. And that's when I get the opportunity to find out more about you, and everything that you have inside you building this creation is what drives me to want to do this and talk to you about this stuff. So
I love that. That's such a cool way of approach. Honestly, that's probably the way that I approach music too. Like, I always find the simplest things to be the ones that draw me in the most, because it's like there's very specific things to focus on, and you get a lot at the heart of like what somebody's trying to say or do when you start from a really, like, I don't know, I don't want to say simple, but like a really genuine, place. I mean, that's why, like, that's how I try to do music and stuff. So I appreciate the fact that just listening to the stuff that I've had out, you've already gotten that from it, because that's definitely what I'm going for.
well, I think a lot of times especially and I'm not bagging on it, but in the pop world today, there's a lot of songs that, like, they just don't mean anything. They just have the hooks and they just bring you in and make you want to be a part of the song. And for me, it's storytelling. When it comes to music, it's storytelling, and it's truth and honesty and lyrics. And it's really being able to be pulled into a song and feel like it's a part of you, instead of, the happy go lucky, or the songs that, there's so much music out there today that means absolutely nothing. Like, I've listened to it and dove into it because someone's like, you got to check this out. It's a
Yeah.
really cool song. And I'll listen to it. I'm like, yeah, it's a cool song, but it means nothing. There's
No,
nothing there for me to attach to.
I understand that completely. I love that you said that you love music as a form of storytelling, because, like, that's me right there. Like, that's what I love about music. Like, I love the stories that can be told, or the emotions, or whatever you're trying to convey, like, lyrically, or things are like, that's always kind of what I'm looking at in music. And all the other stuff, I mean, it's cool for sure, and I don't necessarily hate music that's just for vibes, or just for like having a good time or bouncing with, but like, it's not stuff I'm drawn to, like pop music. And I shouldn't even say pop music, but you know what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
with
No, I
like
know.
music that's just play at a party or play at the club or whatever. Like, it's fun for sure, but like, when I want to get into music, like, I want to feel something. I want to get to the root of like whatever's trying to be conveyed, and storytelling is so important to me. I consider myself more of a storyteller than a musician, honestly, because I'm pretty terrible at all of the instruments that I know how to play.
Well, I don't hear that when I listen to the music. I don't hear how terrible it is, and
I,
and I'm pretty good at shitting on people when I don't like
I
what they're doing.
appreciate it. I've had a lot of help, and I've definitely gotten a lot better over the years. If you've listened to the older stuff, like you said, you listened to Sidewalks, even, like,
Yeah.
there's certainly a very clear progression, like, from my first couple of releases to where I am at now, and I'm honestly, like, really proud of it in myself, but also in just my ability to like let other people help me with it, you know? Because like a lot of the earlier stuff that I was doing, I did it like, you know, basically all on my own. I mean, the Sidewalks release, I had a buddy help me produce it, but the Dorian release, like that was all me. Like I did all of the recording, instrumentation, mixing, and mastering. And it's it's not necessarily the best sounding EP, but it's probably the one that I'm most proud of because I did everything on my own, and I felt like I was actually able to like, you know, get across what I was trying to get across just with my own abilities. And there's something really neat about that, you know. So but I definitely feel like being able to open myself up to other people and letting, you know, somebody take a listen, give their own ideas. And I had a buddy of mine with the split that we did on with Brown Maple. Like I had a buddy of mine come in and he helped me write some, you know, lead guitar parts or like some drums. Like it was really nice to have like some other people like collaborating with, because you know music is a collaborative effort, and it's nice to do stuff on your own, but like it's really nice to also say, oh man, I don't know what I'm doing, and it's really nice that somebody else does know what they're doing.
Well, it's also hard to do it all on your own because
Mhm.
as a majority of us are in this world is we're we're our own worst critic and our own worst
Mhm.
enemy, right? So when you're focusing and you're trying to do something on your own and make things perfect, it necessarily never comes out that way because you don't know when to stop. And I've always equated it to two things: being an you know, an artist who paints a picture and just continues to add paint to it, and you ruin
Mhm.
the simple form of the picture, or oversalting a steak as a chef. Like you just, oh, it's not there yet, it's not there yet. And that's kind of, you know, when you're trying to do everything on your own, yes, you get to take that joy, and you get to feel very happy that you did that all yourself, and you're proud, and this is great. But as you said, like moving forward and starting at Sidewalks and Dorian and A Terrible Year, and you know, to the split now, like you can see the building blocks and the stepping stones
Mhm.
that it takes to get to where you're supposed to go. And I think it's great, you know, all that stuff, because I can see the beginning, right?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times people are afraid to put that stuff out there, or let it sit. I've had conversations with people who have taken stuff off of Bandcamp because, oh, well, it didn't, you know, that was my first stuff and it didn't, you know, the sound quality wasn't the greatest. I'm like, well, you're not that. Once you put it out there,
Yeah.
it's not for you anymore to fucking fuck with or take,
Yeah.
or someone else also already took ownership of that, and they need that album for some reason. So, you know, and we got into a little argument. I was like, dude, you need to fucking put that back up immediately. Like immediately. Like that's
Yeah.
fucking wrong. Like
No,
you
I
could
get
be
that.
ruining someone like right now who turns to that album that they found of yours, and now it's gone. Like that's fucked up. And, you know, 2 days later, he's like, I get a text message. You're right. I put it back up, man.
You're
So,
right. It's funny. This is like the third time I've had this conversation about like older stuff and whether or not you keep it up or not in the past like week. I don't know why this has been like something that I've been talking about a lot recently, but I completely understand. I mean, from like from my own perspective, like at least I agree with you wholeheartedly. I mean, I get really mad when like one of my favorite artists will like take down one of their earlier stuff. I'm like, man, no, put it back up. Like you have to find like the older stuff and like you have to rip it off of YouTube or something if it's like the only way to listen to it. I'm like, just put it on back on Spotify, like put it
yeah.
on iTunes, put it wherever, even on Bandcamp, like so I can download it and buy it at least. But like it's weird being in like the shoes of the musician here because like I definitely understand. Like, I mean, I look back on Sidewalks and I think I don't necessarily think they're the best songs that I've ever written, and they're certainly not
Well, they
my
shouldn't
favorite
be.
songs.
Well, they
No,
shouldn't be
yeah,
the best songs you've ever written. Like, that's you're starting out. So
but like the thing is, I feel like the reason why I at least keep that one because I have thought about whether or not I should just take it down. I've ultimately decided that no, just keep it up there. And I think the thing that I can always come back to is like, even if I'm not like, I'm proud of those songs, so that's not an issue. And even if I don't think that they're the best songs in the world, I think that they're one, I know that, somebody might have connected with like a song off of that EP or something. They might want to be able to listen to it. But for me, like it captures who I was at that time and where I was with making music. And I think that in itself has enough value to make me want to just say, you know what, it deserves to be up still. Like it has its own worth on its own, even though because it's a part of my journey, it's at the
Yeah.
beginning of my journey, but that's something that's really cool, to be able to look back and say, like, this is where I was and this is what I was trying to do. And with that EP specifically, like I was just trying to figure out like what I wanted to do with music. I wasn't really sure how I wanted to sound or what I wanted to do. I wasn't even sure I was able to write songs, to be honest. So I was just kind of figuring it out. And for that, like honestly, the EP turned out really good because
Yeah.
I was able to figure that out. And as I continue to release stuff, at least past sidewalks, I was able to like figure out, okay, I liked this, but I kind of want to do more of this kind of sound, or I want to focus more on this kind of storytelling, and it's honed, and now we're at the point where I'm releasing the split and I'm like all gears are turning. I'm like, I know exactly how I want to write the lyrics. I know what story I want to tell. I know what kind of themes I want to explore. I know how I want it to sound. Like I'm like I'm there, and it's really fun to look back and be like, if only I had known, like that I don't need to worry about it. You'll figure it out as
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah, no, I mean that's the big thing, and going through all of your music and finding stuff like I would be really pissed off if Sidewalks went away because my favorite song to date is off of Sidewalks.
Really?
So yeah,
Oh, what
and
song? I gotta know.
Blue, Blue,
Blue? Oh,
yeah,
Blue. Yes. Okay, more love for Blue. I feel like nobody likes that song, and it makes me sad because I love that song so much.
yeah, and that's the thing. Like that's why I love watching the progression, but like when listening to your stuff and like going over it, and I truly put the work in to
Hmm.
listen to the music and find where it's coming from. And when I constantly go back to a song, that's when I'm like, all right, well, that's the one. That's the one for me. So,
I love that.
it and it's off of, your first thing when you were still figuring it out.
That's so cool. That song. This is completely unrelated, but I like to talk about it whenever I get the chance. That song was so much fun to record because one of my like best friends in the world is the one that's singing with me. The other vocals, the girl on the
Hmm.
track. And we literally like I invited her over to my buddy's place who we were recording at, and we literally just pulled out a big old bottle of wine and got really wine drunk and sang the song together until we got it. It was such a fun experience, and I like telling people that we were just drunk out of our mind through wine, singing that song
That's
for
awesome.
for the recording. It's a great one. I miss her.
Yeah.
She needs to sing on more of my songs. I need to bring her back.
Yeah. So let's start early on in life.
Okay.
Let's go to when music kind of started to take a hold of you. I try to look for that first musical memory, like the first time you heard something as a child where music kind of made you stand up. Everyone's heard me tell my story a million times. I was 6 years old and I heard the Beach Boys' Surfer Girl for the first time. I was 6 years old. And I remember, that time machine that is music. It's, the closest thing in reality we have to a time machine is music. But I was 6 years old in the back of a brown 1978 Cutlass Oldsmobile on the Garden State Parkway. Surfer Girl came on, and my life changed forever. I'm now here. I'm now almost 50 years old, own a record store and a music venue, and like that was the moment. And if it wasn't for that, who knows where I'd be. So,
I
do you
love
have a
that.
moment like that?
You know, that's such an interesting question. I don't think I've ever been asked that. I don't think I have a moment, which sounds bad, but so to know a little bit about me, like I was raised in church basically. Like my family is like a big church
Yeah,
people, and
a lot of people are, and a lot of musicians come from that background, which
my
is
family is like big into music. They're not musicians themselves, but they love music. So like I music has always been there. I can't think of a single time in my life where like I had that moment where I was like, man, music is crazy, because it's just always been there. Like in the church, obviously, my parents are really big about, even at a young age, taking me to concerts or playing CDs and letting me buy CDs for music that I really liked, even though I really had no concept of like what kind of music I was even listening to, like my parents, the first concert I ever went to was a Shania Twain concert. And I don't even remember how old I was because I was that young. And I just remember
That's awesome.
having an absolute blast. Like it was like on a hill, we were just sitting on a hill on a blanket. I just remember sitting there with my parents and listening to all my favorite Shania Twain songs, because of course we had the CD and we were bumping it in the van at any point. I was always asking for Shania Twain and just sitting there listening to somebody that I listened to in the car like all the time in person. It was maybe that's my moment. Maybe listening to Shania Twain on the hill in Virginia. I think it was in Virginia at that point. That was my moment for music. I was like, man, I just love music so much. But it's always been like a part of my life. I mean, obviously, the church is like really big into music, and I always gravitated towards any of the musical stuff that they would do at church. I was always like watching the guitarist and seeing what he was doing, or the drummer in the back. And of course, like the big thing for me was like the storytelling. And when you're a Christian, like the storytelling's pretty straightforward. It's the Jesus stuff,
yeah,
and whatnot. Like it's a pretty, but when you're in it, it's like, wow, like the way that they're able to talk about these things through songs and make me feel emotions. Like, I might not be a religious person now, but like I can certainly give credit to those songs or those musicians for their ability to tell stories or to evoke emotions in people through their songs. So I don't know if that answers your question about my moment, but that's kind of like I guess my background with music. Like that's very much how music got a hold of me, and it's just always been there,
Yeah. And so when did from that moment, when did you kind of find like, do you kind of remember the first thing that you gravitated to on your own that you kind of took ownership of as an artist or a band or like a sound, like a genre type that you were just like, yeah, this is my pocket right now?
So it's interesting. There's kind of like there's two wolves inside me, Shane. to, to make this simple, the two wolves inside me can best be described on the split for me that was happening musically as I was growing older. And so of course I had the church, right? And our church specifically was very like, contemporary Christian music, right? And there was a lot, and one of the people that inspired me to like want to do music in just like a fun way, make music myself even, or pick up an instrument. Had a very big focus on like acoustic guitar. So like it was always about the acoustic guitar storytelling, the folky vibes. I couldn't like even tell you at that early on like what artists, but I know it grew into like listening to things like Gungor, or even stuff like pop music with like, as I got older, I was really gravitating towards like the Lumineers and Mumford and Sons. So like there was these, but it all started with this foundation of like this person that I really admired and inspired me was really big in like acoustic guitar music. And that's why like for the longest time, I've always used my acoustic guitar. But at the same time that was happening, my parents were also raising me on classic 80s and 70s like rock music, right? And I started getting into like harder and harder stuff. So like as I was getting older, I was really enjoying like stuff like Metallica, and so my taste was getting a lot harder, and I think that kind of morphed into like a metal and like punk sound. So like at the same time I'm like really loving acoustic storytelling, I'm also like throwing down with like fucking, I don't even know, like Metallica and these like really hard, the Devil Wears Prada, like these really hardcore like bands, and so that's like where that's how my like music taste and like my desire to make music even like kind of developed. And all of this while, like, I mean, you asked about like early on like stuff that I did to like push me in the direction of music. Like I like I said, I like storytelling. I really love poetry. So like I'm a big poetry writer. Before I was writing music, I was writing poems, you know? And I think that just kind of naturally evolved into music as I got into it. But so that's like a very messy way of showing like how I've gotten to the point where I am, but like as I was growing and how that kind of solidified, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, when did you gravitate immediately, like for your first instrument to touch and play? Was it the acoustic guitar because
It
you?
was the acoustic guitar. It was because of Chad. He was a Chad, and he played acoustic guitar pretty much only. I wanted to learn acoustic guitar from him, but he didn't do lessons and stuff, so that kind of sucked. But I gravitated towards him. I just loved. He was the guy that was in charge of music for the church that I went to for like the younger people, like the kids, and.
Yeah.
You know, he had a whole band behind him, but like, man, when he got on stage and he had his acoustic guitar and like all the other instruments dropped out and it was just him and his guitar, like I was just entranced, man. Like it was magical, you know? I just loved the emotion that he brought with that and the storytelling and like the themes that he would like be able to get across. Of course, you know, being at church, it was like that I'm a sinner and I need to repent for my sins. But
Yeah.
we won't talk about that.
Yeah, everything you're doing is wrong in life.
But like he inspired me, you know, like he really was the first person that made me like really love music from like I guess a technical standpoint, maybe like an emotional standpoint. Like listening to Shania Twain was always fun and whatnot. And I was a big Britney Spears person back then too. Like as a young kid, I loved Britney Spears. I had that CD, but like Chad was the one that like made me go, wow, this music is like this is doing something to me, you know, this is making me feel something. And that's why like now I'm most concerned with storytelling. I'm most concerned with emotion. I don't really care about having the most like technically interesting music or like the most you know playing at the club or whatever, making people bounce. I mean, that's fun for sure. And I definitely have been like trying to explore doing things like that while also retaining like the storytelling aspect. I won't give that up ever, but you know, that's the heart of it is just telling my story and telling whatever I want to say. And it all goes back to Chad, I guess, which is hilarious. So
Thank you, Chad.
thank you, Chad.
Yeah.
He probably hasn't thought of me in like decades at this point, but like I still remember him. He's still a guy.
Now, from seeing that and then you getting, you know, gravitating towards the acoustic guitar and you, I'm guessing you begged your parents to finally get you an acoustic guitar, and they
I
did.
did. They wanted me to play piano first, but I was like, no, I need to be like Chad. I need an acoustic guitar.
So you get the guitar, and as a kid, you're usually looking for someone else like-minded with music that you search out. Did you search out a group of friends to try to get together and start a band? And if so, what was the name of that very first band you ever came up with?
So I did dabble a bit with like having other people play music with me. I mean, that wasn't really until high school. I will say that's something that I'm kind of almost envious of for a lot of bands that I see, because I see a lot of them have been like in a band with these specific friends for like years, like since high school or since college. And honestly, like I haven't really ever had that. I think a big part of that is the fact that I moved around a lot when I was a kid. So like I've moved in my lifetime maybe like 14 or 15 times, right? And most of that was like when like before high school even, you know? And then the rest of it was probably like college and like immediately after college. So like I've just moved around a lot, and even if I did like find people that maybe had similar interests and whatnot or wanted to play music, like it didn't ever get to last very long, because I was having to leave pretty quickly. So that kind of sucked. I mean, once I hit high school, I was kind of in a singular place for a while. But meeting new people, and it's not like I was just trying to find friends in general. I wasn't exactly able to like seek out music friends. And I did find some, but I don't know. I think I've always like been comfortable making music like just me, at least from like a writing perspective or like a jam sesh perspective. Like I'm certainly starting to like open up and be more able to like have other people around, and I definitely want that. But maybe it's just because I feel like I've had to be on my own for a lot, that I just have always done it by myself. So I've done it a couple of times. We never got far enough to have a band name. So that's unfortunately I can't give you a silly band name from high school that I was in. But I was a part of my church band when I was old enough to be in it. So I guess that counts. We didn't have a name, I don't think. We were just the youth group church band. I played guitar for them. So that was fun. I did, but we weren't writing music together. We were playing the songs that the church leader like wanted us to play or whatever, and so that kind of sucked. But yeah, unfortunately, not a lot of that. Even now, I'm like trying to like find people to play music with and whatnot, just because I would like to do that. And I'm still moving around a lot. Like I live in Arizona right now, and I've only been here for like 2 years now. So it's hard. It's hard meeting people, especially when you're not in college anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. It's usually through work,
It's usually through work. Yeah, it's through work and through like whatever you're doing, like your hobbies and whatnot. So, I've met some cool people, and hopefully we've got a band in the works, a full band in the works and whatnot. But restarting, after being at one place for so long, and you even have people that might play music with you. It's hard when you like move other side of the country, and now it's like, okay, I don't have the band anymore.
Yeah. No, it's the good thing though is there are so many good musicians and so many good people out there to be around that love music that you're always gonna I say it all the time. You're always gonna find the people that you're supposed to find. They're always gonna come into your life when they're supposed to. And there's nothing there's nothing you can do to control it. They'll be there when they need to be there.
Yeah.
And when it happens, you just appreciate it when it happens and take that moment and say, oh, wow, these people are awesome. We're creating music together. This is it right now. And
I do. Yeah.
See where it goes.
I just feel like I'm always trying to play catch up, like I said, with the like high school and college and stuff, like there wasn't really people that I was playing music with. And I kind of regret not doing that. I guess not seeking it out more or whatnot. I don't know what I was doing or thinking, but like I just wasn't really. I was just doing my own thing. I was very interested in just writing poetry, and I honestly didn't even start like writing songs until college, and that was kind of by accident, So like, I don't know. It's something that I'm having to play catch up with, I guess.
So what drove you to finally, like, after playing music for a little while and then starting writing songs in college and everything, to finally say, yeah, you know what, this is what I want to do. I want to lay these down. I want to record something and I want to put it out. What do you kind of remember that moment when you were like, all right, if I'm going to do this, this is how I'm going to do this?
Well, yeah. So like when I started writing songs, it was because I was in a very like bad place, obviously. And like
it's a majority of us, yeah.
And I think I just kind of snapped, and like I just kind of started writing songs, and I was doing so bad mentally and with how I was feeling that I just snapped, and I started writing some songs, and I took those songs, or at least one of them, to a friend of mine who was like, he was in like a pop punk band back in like the early 2000s and had done a little bit of touring and stuff. So I knew that he was like a musician, you know, like he had actually like done the music thing. And I brought him these songs and I was just like, hey, I don't know if this is any good, but like I wrote this and I need to share it with somebody. So like, will you listen? And he was excited. He was like, oh my gosh, Braden wrote a song. Like I got to hear what the song is. And I showed him the first song that I ever wrote, and that was like fully written song, and that was Therapy, which was off of Sidewalk. Yeah. So you're probably familiar with the song. Yep. I showed it to him, and he literally was just like, "Holy shit, dude!" It's like, what do you mean? Like, what, is it bad? And he was like, "No, I mean, I didn't expect it to be good, but like that was like really good, Braden. Like for your first song, like holy moly, like what are you doing? Where did this come from?" And I was like, I was really mad. I was really mad, Julio. That's where it came from. And he was like, you got to keep doing this. And I guess that was the moment where I was like, you know, I was like, oh, I should keep doing this. Like somebody else thought it was, somebody who's a musician thought it was good enough to like want me to continue writing. So I kept writing some songs, and you know, I shittily recorded some on my own, and then once I like had an idea of like the songs that, you know, that I was really proud of, like, or I was able to even finish, I went back to Julio and I said, hey, I have these songs, like, would you help me record them? I think it would be fun to do it. And like I didn't even think about like putting it online or like telling, like I didn't have a Twitter, I wasn't on social media, like I was just doing this on my own. I just thought it would be fun to like record with him. And of course he went into like producer mode and was like, oh, we're gonna do this right. And I was like, oh, okay, all right. And we ended up recording Sidewalks, which was an amazing experience. It was a very difficult experience for me because it was the first time I'd ever done anything like that. And you know, it's all history. And then I was like, damn, I need like a band name. Like I didn't even have a band name at that point. I was like, I don't even know what I'm going to call myself. At one point we thought about calling, me and Julio were like, we should be called Los Pulpos, which means the octopuses in Spanish. I just really liked how Los Pulpos sounded, and I decided against it.
Well, I'm glad you did. St. Judas is much better.
I did. It came to me like I was sleeping, and I literally woke up and I was like, St. Judas. Yeah. Is that taken? I texted my friend Clint, and I was like, Clint, is this a stupid band name? He's like, no, it sounds cool. I go, I think this is my band name.
And then you had Therapy too, and I was gonna bring this up at some point too. I think you missed the mark by not having Therapy 3 on
a terrible year,
and continuing having, you know, Therapy throughout.
So the thing about Therapy, so Therapy is like, obviously it's the first song I wrote, and Therapy is like a big song for me, like personally, right? So that song was born out of just like, the original was born out of like complete rage and anger and like hopelessness, right? And I look back on that song and I like it a lot, but honestly, I can't help but cringe. You know, like I don't play that song live anymore. I don't really listen to it, even if I want to listen to my own music. It's just, I kind of cringe at it because I'm just like, wow, I was really, I don't know, immature in that, which is fine, obviously. And that's why I look back and I go, wow, this was like who I was at that time. And Therapy 2 felt like a very natural progression for me because the song is looking at the same situation from a different perspective, whereas like Therapy 1 is all rage and all anger and all like fuck you and I don't give a fuck and I'm cool and I don't give a fuck, I don't need anybody, I'm just cool. You know, Therapy 2 is looking back at that and going, okay, maybe I was a little over dramatic. Maybe I was, and it's still like approaching the same theme, like in the same way, because both songs are, if we have a theme for the songs, it's that the music has been therapy for me, and being able to write the songs has been therapy for me. And it's been therapeutic to be able to get all of this, you know, off of my chest or off of my shoulders. And that's like the foundation of me as a musician. Like music for me is just a way to just get all of the bad stuff out.
Catharsis.
It's catharsis. And because I listen to musicians and they sing about things that are, ugly and cathartic, and it means a lot to me as a listener. And I go, wow, I remember like learning the fact that I'm, mentally ill and being diagnosed with various mental illnesses, and listening to musicians that are singing about these same things. And I was like, wow, I'm here thinking that I was alone, and now I'm not. And these songs like really helped me get through this. And I, want to do, I would like to think that I could maybe do the same thing. I want to be able to, one, help myself and get it all off of my chest, but two, put it out there in the world and say, if this helps you, then I hope it wasn't, for nothing, I guess, right? Like, I hope that this is able to at least help one other person and let them know that like they're not alone in how they feel. So music's always been therapeutic, and that's why the therapy saga is what it is. And I've certainly thought about writing a therapy 3. I just like, I was so moved to grow up from therapy 1 to where I wanted to write another song. Well, it just kind of happened, and I was like, wow, I think I just wrote therapy 2, and that's why it became that. Like, I wrote it and I was like, wow, this is basically just the same thing as therapy 1, but it's I've grown up, like I've matured past the anger that I had, and I think this is just a natural progression to that. So maybe eventually a therapy 3 will come, but I certainly am not trying to write the song, and I certainly am not trying to make it like a thing for every release where there's a therapy on every single release, because I don't want to force it, of course, and I also want it to be natural, right? Like I want, and I haven't felt compelled to write like another chapter in that saga yet. So maybe I will at some point, and once I know, I'll know, and it'll happen. But I'm not trying to force it or anything.
All right. Now, if you meet a complete stranger, you tell them you make music, and they say, "Hey, play me one of your songs." Okay. What one of your songs are you playing for them?
I'm playing the newest one. I'm playing The Places We Don't Remember but Can't Forget. I'm very proud of that song. Mentally, but shutting you out and watching you leave, too afraid to be potentially abandoned again, all alone with a cloud hanging over my head. And I hurt myself physically. There's bruises on my head and blood in the sink. I'm washed up I think it is like a culmination of everything that I have I have my journey as a musician, like where I am now. And I'm just really, really proud of that song. And I also think it's a banger. I think
It is a banger. It's the second song I have written under Blue.
I think it's the one that, like, if anybody was gonna like tap their toes to, like, I think it's just the song that like appeals to a lot of different, you know, types of people. Like, it's, I think I kept the storytelling in, which is like the heart of my songwriting. So there's the storytelling's there, but it's also just kind of a fun song. Like, it makes me want to dance, and that's kind of hilarious that it's such a depressing song, but I can't help but dance to it. So it would probably be that song, you know. That's probably the song that I would recommend people listen to, or I would tell people they should listen to, or I would show them, you know.
Yeah. Now, and this could be totally different, or it could be the same. Is that your favorite song you've released to date, or do you have a song that's like your favorite song that you've released to date?
Favorite song I've released? Favorite how? Like, favorite, just personal favorite?
Yeah, just
like,
personal favorite that you've released to date that you're like, yeah, that's my favorite song I've done so far.
Honestly, I always go back to Dorian. Dorian's like a really important release for me. And it's not just because like I released it all on my own and I did all the stuff for it on my own, but like those songs really just kind of happened, you know? Like, I didn't really try to write. Like, I didn't sit down and go, okay, I'm gonna like diddle around and see. Like, I was just playing and I was depressed, and those songs like just kind of came out. Like, it was the most like natural music that I've ever made in my life. And I always go back to them, and I always look back at those songs and I go, wow, I really like what I was doing with these, or like I really like what I said in these. So I'd say like honestly, like Therapy 2 is probably like my favorite song that I've written. I love that song. I think it was such a tremendous moment of me in like growing as a person, like a human being, to be able to like to get, I don't know, to this point where I feel like I'm a more mature person. I'm able to look at like situations and the things that I've done and like understand that, you know, I might not have necessarily been the best person in the past, and I'm trying to be better, which is like, you know, we come full circle with the split, and I have Still Growing, and that entire song is about that, you know, is like is a big middle finger to people and being like, no, like I figured it out. Like, I've become a better person in my mind all by myself, and I don't fucking need like other people to put me down. And hopefully it lets others know that they can feel the same way, that, you know, the life that they're living is, they're still growing and they're still figuring it out, and they're going to be proud of where they end up because they did it, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think Therapy 2. I think that was a big moment for me. I really love that song, and I think some of the lyrics in that song are just like, not to toot my own horn here, but I'm gonna toot my own horn here. Like, I think they're really clever. Like, I think some of the lyrics on that song are really clever, and I'm like, man, did I write that? Like, that's such a great line. Like, I don't know. I'm really proud of that song. It's simple. It's a very simple song, but it's at its heart, it's just all storytelling, you know, and I love that. So that's probably what I would say. I'm definitely proud of the Split songs, but like, and I love the Split songs, but I just always go back to Dorian. I think, man, I'm really glad I did that.
Toot toot.
Toot toot. We're tooting. I do love horns. I want more horns on my songs. I'm cooking over here. We got Judy with the horns is definitely coming.
Yeah, just do it correctly, please.
Just do it correctly? Okay, yeah, I will. I have people helping me arrange them, so don't worry.
Okay, good.
Hopefully. I'm worried now. Yeah. I'm gonna have to message you after I put them out and be like, did I do this all right? Is this correct?
I'll let you know, trust me.
Okay, that's fine. I'm always open for that kind of stuff. So please tell me.
I'm an opinionated asshole, and
I am too.
Yeah,
I'm so opinionated. I try to keep it to myself, but sometimes I'm just like,
sometimes I can't. I've had people show me stuff and be like, Yeah, man, that guitar part is fucking terrible.
Well,
What was that? You
I
know,
really appreciate the kindness that you've shown, because if I assume you would tell me if you weren't vibing with the stuff, and
I absolutely would.
it makes me feel good that
You wouldn't be here, honestly, if, if I didn't vibe with it. That's
well,
how
then
it.
I appreciate it. I really do. It's real. I'm not like I didn't go to school for music. I had like maybe a year of lesson on guitar. Like everything that I've done is kind of self-taught and just like watching other people do it. So it really does mean a lot whenever somebody tells me that they even just like the songs.
Yeah.
I'm just like, wow, I don't suck. Maybe.
Awesome. So this is the hard part, too, where in today's society we have to figure out
Hmm.
kind of where things fall in and how we can kind of describe ourselves
Yeah.
as in subgenres and all these genre labels and playlists, and how everything just gets fucking worked out into, society. And uh, you kind of have to label yourself with a genre, and I don't really like to do it to people.
Yeah.
But like, where would you kind of place yourself if you had to genre label yourself to say fall into a playlist somewhere? What are you calling yourself?
What am I calling myself? This is an interesting question as well, because I always feel like I bounce around with this. If somebody asks me, like just a random person that maybe isn't even in the like communities that I'm in, as far as music goes, I usually just tell them like I make like indie rock music. That's like the easiest thing to
Yeah.
tell people and they understand. Um, as far as like what I actually think I consider myself, I know the term fifth wave emo gets thrown around a lot. I don't even necessarily know if I consider myself fifth wave emo at that point. I know it's like emo of some sort because it's very like emotional, but it's not like I said, I have two wolves inside me, and there's like
Hmm.
the punky like emo side that I want to bring out, but there's also like the sad, slow, acoustic like storytelling, and like I feel like those are at odds with each other a lot sometimes, and it's hard to tell people like where I fit genre wise or label wise because of that reason. I've seen the term so I saw the term bubble grunge thrown around. I don't know if you've heard of that before.
I've heard of it, but yeah,
So
I don't think it means.
I saw the term bubble grunge thrown around, and honestly, it's definitely seems close to where I am. Now you tell somebody that you're bubble grunge and they're like, "What the fuck are you talking about, dude?" Like that's such a like snobby way of looking at it. Like, "Okay, you're bubble grunge, got it." But like if you want to get technical and where I think I actually fit, I think that's probably where it is, cuz that's stuff like I know that Slaughter Beach Dog I think is considered bubble grunge. I think like Oso Oso is like in that bubble grunge like power pop area. But you have a lot of like acousticy music, but it's like it's very indie, it's very rock, it's very like it's got folky elements and emo elements. Like it's just kind of in its own space, honestly. So I'd say technically that's probably where I would say that I'm in. If not, then it's definitely like more acoustic emo or maybe like indie rock, indie emo. I don't know, something like that. That's where I'd probably put myself. But if a regular person asks me, I just say indie rock. It's indie rock, you know?
Oh yeah.
You like the front bottoms? You ever heard of the front bottoms? It's kind of like that. Kind of. It's like most people know who that is. So they'd be like, oh yeah, yeah, I love the front bottoms. Like, yeah, okay. It's kind of like that.
It- it- Speaking of other bands like Front Bottoms, do you have a band or an artist in your life that never lets you down? It's someone that you turn to when you don't know what you want to listen to, and you just find yourself constantly like that's the band you always go to when you want to listen to music.
Yeah, I mean, so I have a couple, to be honest. And most like I'd say musically for myself, like as far as like just broad spectrum, anything that Jake Ewald touches from Modern Baseball or Slaughter Beach Dog, like
Hmm.
it never fails me. And every release he puts out, like I always know I'm gonna just absolutely adore it and fall in love with it. So like those he's most consistent with like an inspiration for me and just the kind of music that I vibe with. I also am like a big, oh fuck, I'm blanking right now, and I feel like a fake fan. The Mountain Goats. The Mountain Goats is another big one right now. What's his name? Oh my gosh, John Darnielle. Oh my gosh, every Mountain Goats fan just fucking like flamed me so hard for not remembering his name. John Darnielle is another one for me, and he's probably been like the biggest inspiration and just like comfort for me like throughout most of my like slightly adultish life, like basically end of high school, beginning of college, like to now. He's just always been there, and every time he releases music, like it's just something that I constantly have on rotation. I constantly go back to him. If I'm ever like I need comfort and I need to go back to a comfort album, I go back to a Mountain Goats album, you know. And there's so much to choose from, so it's very easy to like have an album for every situation. But like the Mountain Goats has been that like comfort musician. John Darnielle is just like one of the great American storytellers of our time. I think he's fucking genius, and I love everything about what he does musically. And you know, he writes books now. Like he's just a great storyteller. And you know, we've talked so much about storytelling. Like that's the most important thing for me in music. So the fact that he is like such a good storyteller is honestly like huge for me. He's probably the biggest inspiration for St. Judas as a band. In general, like the Mountain Goats has just always been there for me, and I wouldn't be making music if it wasn't for John Darnielle. So yeah, that would be it.
Awesome. All right. Do you have a guilty pleasure, something they get tons of enjoyment out of listening to, that people were really surprised you get tons of enjoyment out of listening to?
I think it's not as like guilty pleasure anymore. Like it's more normalized now, but I've always been a really big Carly Rae Jepsen fan. I love Carly Rae Jepsen. Flame me all you want. She makes banger music, and I love it, and I've always loved it. Like, so that's my guilty pleasures. I love Carly Rae Jepsen. I think that's a more normal take to have now. Like, I think people are coming around to her, and like you'll talk to people, and they'll be like, "Yeah, actually, Carly Rae Jepsen's a really great musician." Like, thank you.
Yeah, a lot of Carly Rae Jepsen T-shirts were at Best Friends Forever Fest out in Vegas. I was very surprised to see. I was like, "Wow,
yeah, she's great." If you aren't on the Carly Rae train, like I would highly recommend listening to like the most recent album she put out, or even just Emotion, like, and really listening to it. Like the things that she does, like yeah, some of the storytelling's a little basic, but honestly, not too basic. Like considering a lot of the pop music that is out right now. She's doing some really interesting stuff musically with like this cool like 80s synth inspiration that she has, and her storytelling's a lot better than like what I would say a lot of pop musicians are doing. So it's honestly I love her. Like I've seen her in concert, fucking amazing. And I think she gets a lot of hate for the fact that she did Call Me Maybe, and everyone's like, oh, she did the Call Me Maybe or the I Really Like You song. I'm like, yeah, but like, have you listened to LA Hallucinations? Like, have you listened to Runaway? Like, she has some really good deep cuts. Like, she's a really good musician. So that would be the number one thing for me. I'm also a theater person, so I do listen to show tunes from time to time. That's kind of a guilty pleasure. It's very specific shows for me because I'm not a huge musical guy, but like I do love me like some title of show soundtrack, or like Heather's soundtrack. Like I really love show tunes that are done well. So I'd say Carly Rae and show tunes.
Nice.
Yeah, it's fun.
All right, I'm gonna get a little morbid here for our last question, but
okay,
5 minutes left to live. Meteors crashing into the earth, and you have to listen to one song and one song only. What song are you listening to?
5 minutes. I assume I get to listen to the whole song, right?
Well, it's 5 minutes, so if you're picking Stairway to Heaven, you ain't hearing that whole song. But
that's fair. So it's interesting the way that you framed this question, okay? And I respect it a lot because you're framing it in the sense of it's like it's the last song that I want to listen to alive, basically, right? Like knowing that I'm dying. If you ask me like what my like my favorite song is. Maybe not even just favorite, but like my comfort song, or like what song makes me like dance the most. Like
No,
the framing that you have is very specific, and I appreciate that. So if I had one song left to listen to, or at least for 5 minutes, hmm, let me cook for a second. I think honestly, it would be Bon Iver's Holocene.
okay.
I th-
Yeah, I
that
get it. Yeah.
I think that song would provide me great comfort. It is one of my like favorite songs of all time. I do love Bon Iver. I haven't talked about him at all. But
Yeah, that
Justin
song
Vernon,
makes me cry just by the first note. So
yeah. So the song is probably one of my favorite songs of all time, and that song has provided great comfort to me just in general in my life. And I think listening to that song, knowing that I was going to die, after the song is done, I think that I couldn't even imagine like what it would do to me.
no,
I'm gonna
it's
tear up right now just thinking
yeah.
about
Listen,
it.
it's a great answer. I put together years ago, it was my parents' 50th wedding anniversary, and I put
Mm,
together their entire slideshow from when they were kids to the family to where they are today to that song. So it was not a
mm.
dry eye in the house when that happened.
Oh, for sure. It's just such a beautiful song, and it's so great. And I think, knowing that it's my last song alive, like I can't imagine what that would do to me. Like it would just wreck me
Yeah.
absolutely. But it would also provide a lot of comfort, I think. So yeah, that's the song. It's a good one.
Nice. Good answer.
Mhm.
Good
Yeah.
answer.
I'd like to think I have some good answers every now and then.
Well, before we move on to our final segment, I'd love to give you the opportunity right now to tell people how to keep up with everything that you're doing, how to find
Mhm.
all your music and all that kind of stuff now, and send the message to people listening.
Yeah, okay. So like if you want to keep up with my music and what I'm releasing, like just following on whatever streaming service you listen to is probably the best way to keep up with that. If you're interested at all in me as a person, then and getting updates on like what I'm working on or what I'm doing and the different shows I might be playing. I'm most active on Twitter, on X. Unfortunately, I might be moving over to Blue Sky, but I don't think I'll ever stop being active on Twitter. So finding me on Twitter is probably the best way to keep up with me. I am on Instagram as well, but I'm just St. Judas on those. I'm the pumpkin headed guy. Well, not right now, actually. I changed my profile picture, but I'm usually the guy with the pumpkin head. So if you see a pumpkin headed person called St. Judas, that is me. So you can find me on Twitter as St. Judas. You can find me on Instagram. I'm trying to post more TikToks, but I don't really like doing it. So I can't tell you how much I'm going to be on there. And I'm hardly on Instagram, honestly. So Twitter's the best place. I'm trying my best to be present online, but I'm just not. I'm just
Yeah,
not good at
it's
it.
hard. It's hard.
It is Twitter. Find me on Twitter. Find me on Blueski whenever I get it. Instagram. I don't know. Just wherever I'm on most places, so you'll find me.
Awesome. Well, we're moving into our final segment. It is our weekly 3 segment. It is 3
Okay.
things that you're listening to right now that you would like people to check out. You give your 3 for the week, and then I give my 3.
Ooh, gosh. What am I listening to right now? So, um, right now I am okay. So I listen to a lot of older stuff. I mean, not older stuff, but like stuff that's been out for a while consistently. So I'm gonna try to have
No, it's
a
fine. Well, it's what you're listening to. That's what we want
okay.
to, get into the mind of what you've been listening to this week.
Well, what I'm listening to right now is probably a lot of Charmer, self-titled Charmer album. If you're familiar with that,
Yep.
it's one of my favorite albums. I love that album, and I always go back to it. It's just a great album. Listening to a lot of Runner. I don't know if you know
Yep.
Runner.
I know Runner.
I've been
They've been on
going.
my 3s. Both of these have been on my 3s in the past. Yep.
I'm a big Runner fan. I love Runner. He's a very sweet person. I've met him twice now. And the newest album has been on my rotation recently because I've I've spun always repeating too much, and I have needed a break from it. So I'm listening to like Dying Stars. We're reaching out a lot more. That album is a great comfort to me, and it's what I'm listening to. And then Honestly, third, I've been listening to the new Covey album. It released this past Friday.
That was on my threes the other day. But
yeah. I released I released the new Covey album. No,
yeah,
I've been listening to the new Covey album a lot just because I haven't had a chance to really sit down and like listen. So it's just been kind of like listening in passing, like in random splurts or whatever. But I do love Covey a lot, and I've been meaning to just sit down and really listen to it. But I have been listening to it, just not front to back like I want. So Runner, Covey, Charmer, those have been that's probably my threes of what I've been listening to.
Nice. Yeah, when I heard the Covey, it was very nice. I had an advanced copy of it, and I was just like, this is going to fucking break people's hearts.
It's
this
so
is fucking
good.
so good.
I've met Covey a couple times, and he's just such a nice person. And watching what he's doing, like musically and just artistically, has been really, really cool and inspired me a lot, definitely too. Because I've just been like, man, I want to do more of these like cool, weird things. There's not an artist like Covey doing it right now. I think like it's just all over the place, and what Covey's doing. Love it.
Nice. All right, my three for this week. My first one is a band called Skies Behind. They have an album called The Spaces. They're an indie alt rock. I guess that's what I don't want to label them, but that's so you know what you're getting into. But yeah, they're from Ireland. Really fucking good. Great sound.
Okay, I'm gonna check this out.
My second one is a band called The Tubs.
The Tubs. That's such a great band name. What?
They have an album called Dead Meat. They're kind of indie-ish, post-punk, new wave-ish from UK. Really, really fucking good. It's very, as my term of nostalgic. It is has an old sound to it, but it brings it forward to today. So
I love that.
And last but not least is a band out of Atlanta, Georgia called World's Greatest Dad.
Love World's Greatest Dad.
Yeah. Better Luck Next Time is the name of the album. But those are the three things I've been jamming on this week.
That's sick. That's so sick. I'm going to check out those first two because I haven't heard of them. And I think I need to listen to a band called The Tubs, honestly. Yeah. Like, what am I doing?
Yeah, if you don't like it, well, then that's on you. But
no, I'm sure I love it. I like most music. I find enjoyment in most things, and I'm an artist is speaking their truth. I'm gonna probably enjoy it. So
nice. But Braden, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much for sharing with us and opening up and just having a nice, good hour-long talk about yourself. It's a lot of fun, and it's been a lot of fun. And thank you so much for creating the music that actually brought us together, because that's, the most important part. I mean, you created some music, and now two strangers become friends, and that's the power of music, and that's what I love about it. So thank you for doing that.
No, thank you. I really I just appreciate you wanting to sit down and talk and listen to whatever the hell it is I'm going off about. But it means a lot that you're such a cool person. I enjoy sitting down and just talking it out. So I really appreciate you having me and talking and being friendly and whatnot. It's fun.
Awesome. Well, everybody, you know what time it is now. It's time to go out, listen to St. Judas, and have a great fucking time.
I'll push you away, we'll sink to the bottom, alone in a house filled to the brim. These people that know my name will want to escape, but that's not your problem. And now all the people I call friends don't seem to recognize my face. Afraid of the change, that you couldn't stop it. A hole in your chest, the size of your fist that's pushing up and out your mouth. It grew into hate. What would you call it? Admit I don't know shit about anything at all, but you were gone the time that I woke up. And there's a lot of things left to do. If there's a God, he better fucking fear me. I wanna be brave enough to see this through. I don't need you anymore. I found happiness all by myself. I don't need you anymore. I found happiness all by myself. I don't need you anymore. I found happiness all by myself. I don't need you anymore. I found happiness all by myself.
Thanks again for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. We hope you enjoyed this week's show. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at HiddenTracks99. Also, send all your submissions to myhiddentracks99@gmail.com. Tune in next week. You may find your new favorite band. And don't forget to go out and have a great fucking time.